بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين واللعنة الدائمة الأبدية على أعدائهم أجمعين لا قيام يوم الدين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. Assalamu alaikum, my beloved sons and daughters, wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, we are going to continue the last session of the Q&A session of the Manasik al-Hajj of Sayyidi Sistani Damadullah. There are two small topics remaining here related to Manasik al-Hajj. There are a few topics, as we mentioned, they're out of Manasik al-Hajj, it have something to do with Manasik al-Hajj, such as rules of purification and other stuff. So the main idea here is that we have today two topics. One is Masdood. Masdood means, like I mentioned in my previous session, the one who might have visa problems. He enters the state of Ihram, arrives Jeddah airport, he's in the state of Ihram, he's not allowed to enter Mecca, enter Saudi Arabia, and he's told, go back to your hometown because your passport is expired, for example. So somehow the one who checks the passport and the visa at the airport somehow neglected or somehow got unaware about his situation. And many times when things like this happen, people, they do ya Allah, this and that. So somehow his dua mustajab, he passed. The guy got blinded from looking at the expiration date or something like that. So he went into the plane. Alhamdulillah, I'm done. Once he arrived Jeddah, here also you need to do some of the dua stuff. And he got stuck here and says, go back. So therefore, this kind of scenario, what should he do? He's in the state of ihram, no tawaf, no nothing. His wife is prohibited. He will be staying forever like that condition. No. So here, the guy purchases sacrifice and does the sacrifice in his place. Like in Jeddah airport, no, Jeddah airport, they'll not allow me. Okay, get into the plane with the same thing. Don't remove it. Don't say, oh, I can't enter. Okay, let someone else, phone someone else in Jeddah, you know them, your friend, or Makkah, wherever in that. So, but you have to sacrifice in your spot, okay, to bring a sacrifice in Jeddah. But Jeddah airport problem, okay, go back to your hometown with the same attire, same clothing, and sacrifice wherever you are able to perform sacrifice. Okay, that's number one. That's masdood. The mahsur was, no, he entered the state of ihram. He's in miqat, or he comes from Turkey or from any airline coming. He has a good visa, everything. So there's no legal issue. But he gets, for example, God forbid, heart attack, and he's hospitalized in Jeddah or hospitalized in Medina or somewhere in the state of ihram. So what should he do? He should ask someone to sacrifice from him in Mina, because he will not be able to leave at least 4 or 5 days of observation in the hospital. He'll not let him go. It's a risk. So therefore, he's mahsur. He's prevented due to the sickness. And that's why he will have to ask somebody to sacrifice for him there and in Makkah or Mina, sorry, and get himself relieved from the state of ihram. So these are the two categories. Let's talk about the masdood awalan. The questions, there are about 14 questions about masdood, but we know the idea, so it shouldn't be. Check your visas and passport properly, okay? And you don't have to know these rules. Whoever entered the state of ihram and arrived Makkah, some of them, they come on Umrah visa. So they entered Jeddah as a tourism visa. So they entered on tourism visa or Umrah visa, but that visa is not valid from 15th Dhul Qa'd to 15th Dhul Hajj, this period of 1 month. And even if you can enter Jeddah, but once you want to go to Makkah, they come in the bus and they check all the visas. If somebody has that kind of visa, get out. You are not allowed to enter Mecca. Finish. So what happens that this person entered the state of Ihram and he arrived Mecca. However, he was detained and was deported immediately to his hometown before he even started his tawaf. The scenario we gave was Jeddah, Medina, Miqat. No, he arrived. He's in Mecca. He's just going to enter Masjid al-Haram and he was caught there before starting. Well, let me at least finish my tawaf. No, the tawaf of Umrah, tawaf, sa'i, and I'm done. I'll do taqsir and no, the khalas, he's in his state of ihram. So the question is, he is in Mecca, not arrived in Jeddah. So can he appoint someone to perform Umrah on his behalf? And the ruling of Masdud is applied upon that person, okay? Or the ruling of Masdud means he can't do anything. Just sacrifice in his place and that's it. Or in his hometown, wherever he is able to do the sacrifice. But he cannot appoint someone. So it says the ruling of the Masdud, the barred, will be applied. The barred, the one who's legally prevented. Question number 2. He says that the one who has been barred, okay, from performing the A'mal of Umrah, he has a probability, okay, either minor probability or large probability, that his barring will be done in a time sufficient for him to perform his Umrah and Hajj. So he says, if that's the case, then he should wait. He should wait on the basis of obligatory. No. The question is, he's, for example, barred now. But he has a probability, minor probability or larger probability, that he will be released before the end of the time of the manasik. So now he's barred, but he has a probability, not certainty, probability, light or large probability. It's a probability. There's no certainty here. So is it sufficient for him to apply the rule of barred? He says yes. That means he'll apply the rule of barred. Even though it's recommended precaution for him to wait until he becomes hopeless from being released. Question number 3. Let's say he's in the state of ihram and he's in the hotel or somewhere, okay, in Jeddah, and he messed up. He did private relations with his wife. So before the staying of Arafat and Muzdalifah, in a way that he has to complete the Hajj and repeat the Hajj next year, okay, as a punishment to him, as mentioned in your book of law, Sayyidina, in the rulings of barred and restricted. So in your so the question is, I'm going to repeat the question. What is the ruling of someone who invalidated his Hajj, then he became barred or restricted? if he has invalidated his Hajj, the answer, if he had invalidated his Hajj before staying in Muzdalifah, okay, that means either in Arafat and فحيث أنه because if he does that, then it is obligatory upon him to complete the Hajj and repeat the Hajj next year as a punishment for him. This is what will be applied as mentioned in the Manasik al-Hajj in the rulings of Masdud and Mahsur. For the one whose Hajj was, so the ruling says the guy's Hajj was not invalidated and he has to repeat next year. So what he says, this guy's Hajj is invalidated. He has to repeat it anyways. So on the priority basis, he had to repeat his Hajj. So in the rulings of barred and restrained or barred and restricted, it's mentioned that a normal person should repeat the Hajj. So this person should repeat the Hajj who has invalidated his Hajj on the priority basis. So it says, إِذَا كَانَ إِفْسَادُهُ بِالْجُمَعِ, if the Hajj became invalid due to private relation before Muzdalifah, and he was in the state of Ihram, in a way that it is obligatory upon him to complete and redo as a punishment, as mentioned in the book of Manasik, book of laws of Hajj, in the rules of Masdud and Mahsur, for the person whose Hajj is not invalidated. Yeah, let me rephrase this sentence because it's like he says the guy invalidated the Hajj, and this by like private relations, because not every invalidation of Ihram or prohibition of Ihram necessitates the repetition of the Hajj. But this is one of the major crimes in the Hajj, that in the state of Ihram you perform private relations with your spouse, then that is a major crime here. That necessitates on you to complete this Hajj and repeat it next year. Okay? So this is something which is in the case of this person, that if he is not able to complete, he has to come back. He will apply the rule of masdud, restrained and barred, as mentioned in the Risala. The same rule will be applied. The difference is that this person needs to repeat the Hajj in the upcoming year, okay, as a punishment. Yeah, so this is the gist of the answer. If his Hajj was invalidated due to the what they say, the private relations before Muzdalifah, before staying in Muzdalifah, and then he got barred or restrained. His duty is to complete the Hajj and repeat it. So whatever has been mentioned in the rulings of barred and restrained in the Manasik al-Hajj, for the one who does not invalidate the Hajj, will be applied for this person. This is what he's saying. So whatever we mention there, that means he's going to offer sacrifice and get relief from his ihram and redo the Hajj next year. Question number 4 says, whoever brings his sacrifice with him. It is sufficient to sacrifice. Remember, the Masdood sacrifice wherever he is, you see. So it is sufficient for him to sacrifice whatever sacrifice he had brought with. Remember that Hajjul Qiran, for those people who are living close to Mecca, so it's not even a practical for those who live far away. Question number 5. Let's say if the one who was barred was not somebody who came with his goat companion with him. Okay. So the question is it necessary for him to slaughter in the same place? What if he was not, like Jeddah airport, for example? What if he is not able to find a goat? So is it permissible for him to go back to his hometown and slaughter there, because he's going to be deported? He's going to be sent back to a next flight. So never make that mistake of having wrong documentations and going back there. It will cost you a lot. He says, on the basis of obligatory precaution, to slaughter wherever he was barred. Nowadays, it's not feasible. In even the goat, you are not having a goat. First of all, where will you get the goat? Who will bring you the goat inside the arrival area before the immigration of the airport? That's the scenario. It's most practical nowadays. وإن لم يتيسر جاز له في أي مكان آخر. So he says, if it's not feasible for him to slaughter where you are barred, then wherever you can slaughter to get out of your ihram. Remember, after slaughter, he has to clip or shave, and then he's out of his ihram. 6 mentions that in your book of law, it is mentioned the one who is barred from Hajj al-Tamattu, if the barring was from the 2 stays of Arafat and Muzdalifah only, he was barred from that, then obligatory precaution, he should perform the tawaf, because he's not barred from Mecca. He's barred from where? He's barred from Arafat and Muzdalifah. He can't go there. Okay, but he's still in Mecca. He's not allowed to leave Mecca. So he would do his tawaf and sa'i and shave his head and slaughter a sheep. And the question here, so this is what is mentioned in your book, Sayyidina. But the question here, is this tawaf and sa'i and shaving and slaughtering, is it sequential or not? The answer, yes. Tawaf and sa'i should be done in the beginning. However, shaving of the head and slaughtering, it's up to you. You can choose either to shave, either to slaughter first. So what if this barring happened inside Masjid al-Haram? Like, if you're not wearing dress of ihram, you're unable to go inside the Masjid al-Haram, or you're wearing the libas of ihram, you're muhrim, but there's so much crowd that the police are dividing. Some go down, some go up on the top floor. So what will happen if you're barred from entering the platform where the tawaf, so Mizanian and the ground floor, but the top floor, there's a problem. Some say yes, some say no, just avoid it, especially your wajib tawaf. So these are the things, Mizanian and so some are made to go into, because the police, they channel you. Sometimes you don't have control. You're coming in the crowd and the police divide the crowd into 3 divisions. One goes the ground floor, one goes in the Mizanian, and one goes all the way top. You can't say no, and then the screaming happens and here and there. Yeah. And he might be barred totally then. So this is a kind of barring which is not that serious. So he can't do tawaf, and tawaf is one of the pillars of Hajj. So he says that he's directed towards the top area, which is about, remember this Kaaba? We said if the top level, if the Kaaba is above the top level, even like 4 fingers or one span, then you can perform the tawaf. But if the second floor is higher than the Kaaba, then you cannot perform the tawaf. And then will it be considered masdood? He said if he is in the case of the specific tawaf being barred from doing the tawaf properly from the on the ground floor or the mizan in where the where the tawaf where the tawaf is allowed, he's not able to do that and he's pushed up, then he says that just give somebody power of attorney to represent you, do the tawaf on your behalf. Okay, no problem in that. If somebody realized, question number 8, that his amal of Umrah were invalid and the responsible person is now in the state of ihram. Uh, so remember, if your tawaf is invalid, your sa'i is in salat tawaf invalid, your tawaf invalid, sa'i invalid, taqsir invalid, tawaf in nisa invalid. That means kiss your umrah goodbye. So that means you have not exited the state of ihram. So you're sitting in the airplane or in Jeddah airport or something like that. After your immigration is done, you're in the departure lounge, and some wise guy comes and tells you, oh, like on the top floor, tawaf is invalid. Oh, no. Really? Yeah. Which top floor? All the way top. Oh, no, I did the tawaf there. It's not there. Sa'i also. Sa'i. Oh, no, I did the sa'i on the scooters. Oh, your Umrah is invalid. So what should I do? Now you are in the state of Ihram. Wear your white dress back again. Oh no, I don't want to become a Muslim Dalai Lama or something like that, wearing this white clothes and going to the work and this and that. So what should I do? Okay. He he can't go back. He's in departure launch. The visa is valid. They said you can't. Sometimes they understand and consider, but here you see, they said no, you are done. We can't unless you have visa, Umrah visa. But if you have multiple visa, they can allow you to go in and then exit you out. It happens for several Hajjaj. But if you have that Umrah visa that you're exited, you're done. And the guy who was sitting in the immigration was a tough guy. So then you are barred from entering Mecca. So he said, in this case, will the ruling of being barred applied? He's still in state of ihram. He said, yes. So slaughter goat there. But where will I find goat in departure lounge or in the airplane? You see, then just whenever you arrive at hometown, quickly do your thing. So he said, yeah, if he's not allowed to go back. See, there's a difference. If he's not allowed to, yes, he's barred. But if he's allowed to, okay, then he has to go back. And if there are circumstances, whatever, then he has to appoint a representative to complete on his behalf in certain cases. Okay, question number 9. A woman, she entered the state of ihram, but she was prevented to enter the haram area, tawaf area. Will it be sufficient for her to perform, to appoint a representative to perform the tawaf and sa'i on her behalf? Or she's considered barred and she has to slaughter, or she does both. So A, she gives representation. B, she slaughters, she's masdood. C, she has to combine between two responsibilities. Both. Let someone do on your behalf and then slaughter and release yourself from the ihram? Answer: if she's really, really, really must do the barred from performing the Umrah due to the continuation of the barring uh, and lengthy period of being barred, then her responsibility will be just to slaughter and do the taqsir, clip off your hair. Question number 10. Nowadays, the authorities, they prevent people from doing second Umrah for those who are in Mecca. I think this is unpractical because everybody is in Mecca, they go and do the second Umrah. Maybe this was for time of Corona, COVID or something like that. Okay. And you had registered Umrah. They used to use an app of Nusk to enter Masjid al-Haram. So if you have entered Masjid al-Haram, down floor, you cannot enter it again. There was something, I'm just going to skip this. Okay, because the rule of barring is known. If someone performed Umrah Mufrada and he was barred from going to the Tawaf area and the Sa'i due to some rules that has been designated by the authorities at this time, and this prevention can be lengthier. It could be days and weeks. So it's similar to the question before. So he says that if someone is not allowed to go to the tawaf area or the sa'i area in a lengthy period, which is considered that this guy is barred in a common consideration. Okay, the period in the common consideration. معتد بها بحيث يصدق أنه مصدود جرى عليه حكمه. Then the ruling of the barred person will be applied. And if the period was short of being barred, then he should wait. So if he becomes hopeless, then he should slaughter and relieve himself from his ihram. Question number 12. If someone did nether, remember entering the state of ihram via vow. So in one of the airports like Dammam or all these airports, they are not miqat. So in one of the airports, he entered the ihram via nether. And the plane left without him. Wait, I'm here. Don't leave me alone. I'm already in the state of ihram. And the plane left. I mean, I was in the washroom, wherever. Our people sometimes they are very slow, that they arrive late at the gate. So anyhow, for some reasons, he was late and the plane left him. And then he was not allowed to perform the Umrah except after a few days due to the regulations. Will his ihram be invalid? Why invalid? Because he entered the state of ihram via nether from the airport. Either Jeddah Airport, Dammam Airport, Doha, Dubai, Bahrain, wherever, Istanbul, wherever airports they do the nether and enter the state of ihram. Okay, because if you don't enter the state of ihram from miqat, before that you can enter the state of ihram via nether. Okay. فَلْيَبْطُلْ إِحْرَامُهُ. Will his ihram be invalid if he's unable to perform the manasik of Umrah? Because why? He entered the state of ihram via nether. And or he will be considered like, will his ihram be invalid because he entered the ihram with nether, or he will be considered like the one who's barred and he has to appoint or he has to appoint representatives. So three options in the question. Because he did with nether and he's not able to fulfill the Umrah, will his nether be invalid? So he's not in the ihram. Or he will be considered like the masdood, barred, slaughter, and then. Or he has to appoint a representative, and then in this case, slaughtering a sacrifice. Okay, is it like a fatwa or obligatory precaution? So let's take one by one. His ihram will not be invalid. So answer number one, will his ihram be invalid? No. What about the question number two? The barring, ruling of the barring. So he says his ihram will be valid. His ihram will not become invalid. However, if he is not allowed to perform the Umrah except after a long period of time, which is considered beyond the period of a person being in patience in the eye of the common observer, common consideration, then that long period is sufficient for him, okay, to apply the rule of Masdud. Uh, so it bars him to continue towards Mecca after a state of Ihram, but after a long period of time. So that in that case, he'll just slaughter and he'll be relieved from slaughter, shave, exit the state of Ihram. However, if the period was not lengthy, in a way it was tolerable and in front of the eye of common consideration, then he needs to wait. So if his ihram, no, it will not be valid. Will the ruling of Masdud be applied? Yes, if the barring was lengthy. If the barring was not lengthy, he needs to observe patience until he's released, and then he can perform the Umrah, or the ruling of the barring will be applied. That's what about the sacrifice? Is it fatwa or ihtiyat wajib? A person who did not accompany his sacrifice with him, it is obligatory precaution, ihtiyat wajib. Okay? It is ihtiyat wajib for a person who did not accompany his sacrifice. But who accompanies, that's a fatwa. Question number 13. If someone was barred, a muhrim person was barred after entering the state of ihram of Hajj or Umrah, labbaik Allahumma labbaik, and he was captured. Show us your visa. You entered illegally, this, that. And he was not able to slaughter in his place. He was barred. And this is a repeated question. Can he go back home, or he should appoint a representative in Mecca to slaughter? He said he can slaughter anywhere he wants. Question number 14. If someone was satisfied that he got proper documentations to enter Mecca, okay, في مكة بعد الوقوفين. يعني his documentations are missing, but after Mina Muzdalifa, he's muhrim in the state of ihram, okay, and he's barred until his documentations are fulfilled, properly done. He needs to do some paperwork to get his documentation fixed at the airport, for example. Okay, but he knew that his documentation will only be ready after the 10th of the Hajj, like after the 2 stays, Muzdalifah and Arafat. Okay, so he was satisfied that he will get the released and documentation of being released before, and he will be able to enter Makkah. So he did the intention of Hajj al-Ifrad. Then later on, he realized that the documentation will not be completed except after Muharram, month of Muharram. So will the ruling of someone who forgot will be applied here, okay, when he's unable to perform the tawaf of the Hajj. So the question is, if someone forgot, okay, will the ruling of someone who forgot the tawaf be applied here? I repeat the question verbatim. If hypothetically he was, let's say hypothetically he was satisfied that he will get the documentations to enter Mecca done after the Arafat and Muzdalifah, and he had entered the Hajj, entered the Ihram of Hajj al-Ifrad, but later on he realized that he is not allowed except after 1 month, after like Muharram or in Muharram. So will the ruling of someone who had forgotten, who is able to perform the tawaf, okay, in the haram? If somebody forgot, he has to come back. So once he's released, does he have to come back or not? Somebody forgot the tawaf. We said that he has to come back and perform the tawaf. If not, then representative. So here, but why, I don't understand, why which should we consider the questioner ask a question? It's not that hypothetically he is satisfied that he will get his documentation when? In Mecca. When? After the stay of Mina and Muzdalifah. So what we understand from this question, that he's able to be in Mina and Muzdalifah. To enter Makkah, it's another story in this scenario. Are you getting it? So after Mina Muzdalifah, he's going to get the documentations to enter where? Not to enter Saudi, to enter Makkah. But why do I have to enter Makkah after Muzdalifah and Mina? To perform the manasik of Makkah. Tawaf of Hajj, 2 rakat Tawaf of Hajj, Sa'i between Safa and Marwa, and Tawaf al-Nisa and 2 rakat Tawaf al-Nisa. So I need paperworks which are required to enter Makkah because they had prevented me from entering Makkah. So he's satisfied. He can go to Mina Muzdalifah. I mean, he can go to Arafat Muzdalifah, but he cannot enter Makkah. And he was satisfied that after he's done with the Muzdalifah, he will receive the paperwork done. So that means he will be able to complete Hajj normally. Because the first manasik al-Hajj is what? Arafat and Muzdalifah. For Hajj al-Ifrad, there is no Umrat al-Tamattu'. And the question here is Hajj al-Ifrad. So this person is going to perform Hajj al-Ifrad, the Hajj without Umrah, for those who are living in Mecca and its vicinities, and for certain people who are coming from out away, and those are certain exemption things. So he was able to perform the labbaik, the first thing, and enter the state of Ihram and labbaik, and then come to Muzdalifah and Arafat. However, he was barred from entering Mecca, but he was satisfied he's going to get the necessary documents and he'll be able to do the Tawaf Sa'i and Tawaf of Nisa. But what happened? It appeared to him that he cannot enter Mecca until Muharram. So will the ruling of someone who forgot, who's able to perform the Tawaf in Muharram, will be applied? Because the ruling was, if someone is unable to perform the Tawaf of Kaaba in the month of the Hajj, or someone forgot in the specific days after in the Ayyam al-Tashriq after 10th Dhul-Hajj, 10th Dhul-Hajj, 11, 12, 13. So so this person was able to, so he realized he's not able to enter Makkah until Muharram. So will this scenario, remember, if somebody forgot, he has to come back to Makkah and perform it. If not, then appoint a representative to perform the tawaf, sa'i and tawaf for you. فَلْيُلْحَقُ بِالنَّاسِ. Will the ruling of the forgetting person be applied who can perform the tawaf in Muharram? If he was unable to perform the tawaf in Dhul Hajj, he said, no. The ruling of the person who forgot does not apply on this person. However, he can appoint a representative if he did not knew from the beginning that he will be barred from entering from performing tawaf of Hajj and sa'i and tawaf al-nisa until the end of the Hajj, because this amal needs to be done until the end of the Hajj. So if he's not able to perform, then he can give niyabat, so someone can perform in the month of the Hajj. These were some questions about the mahsur. We have one more section left about masdud, sorry. We have one more section left about the mahsur, and then we have certain rules of taqlid and purification, and we'll be done with the manasik al-hajj. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.